Welcome to the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show. I'm your host, Ovi Muniz. We got quite a show today, or I should say tonight. We're going to cover a little bit about AEW Revolution. At least I will. My counterparts, they're going to want to know what happened. But it was a spectacular show. I got a little bit of information on that. Then we're going to jump on to WrestleMania, and there's a takeaway about Kevin Owens. And then we update more of the match cards. And there's been one more added to the induction of the WWE Hall of Fame. We got that and much, much more on the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show. But check this out. We got a brand new show that's coming out in Clovercrest Media. They're going on their 4th episode. Check out this introduction. That's right. It is in between the gray. You don't want to miss it. It is every Monday at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook, right? And on YouTube. And you can watch it on Twitter. So you please follow them. It is a great show. Man, trust me when I tell you, it is the bomb. And what else is happening? Well, speaking of real, there's another podcast you can catch on Clovercrest. Check out their intro. And one last thing, we have baseball, which hopefully the lockout will be over soon. I mean, there's still discussions between the owners and the MLBPA and stuff like that with the players. But shall it come soon? Check out this podcast.
The Boston Red Sox hit the field looking to get back on top of the American League East. We're breaking down every pitch all season long on Obi's Backstop Podcast, part of the CMG Sports Podcast Network.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome back, fellas, to another episode of the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show. Hector V and Frank Cuesta, guys. We're here for another episode of the Road to WrestleMania. But before we even talk about WrestleMania, guys, this weekend I ended up seeing AEW Revolution. Man, I gotta tell you, out of all the matches, I was more entertained with the tag team division of AEW. It's just something that what they give of those matches is so spectacular. The action is like so real. And I think the speed is a lot faster than the WWE. Do you think so, Hector?
I think so. For the little bit of time that I've been really focusing on AEW, everything is just so fast paced, which keeps you moving. You know, keeps you on your toes. You don't want to miss anything. it's not stagnant, and I like that. I do like that.
Absolutely, no. I mean, there are times when the players, the superstars are on the floor, but that comes like all these maneuvers. But there's always something going on in that ring, and especially my favorite was the triple threat match for the tag team titles. But I'm going to show a little bit brief of what I have seen in the AEW real quick. And these were the matches. They had three kickoff matches, which was spectacular. But I like the 6-man tag. For those of you that don't follow AEW, you know that the old Aleister Black and Buddy Murphy, they actually are tag teams. But overall, that one hyped me up to watch the rest of the show. Okay. But that was the House of Black. That's what they call themselves. The House of Black. They win it. They won their match. Was spectacular, or I should say stupendous, because it just got me hyped up. Then you had John Moxley defeated Bryan Danielson, and which that type of match, it didn't end in a signature move. It was just a position where Bryan Danielson had him locked in, and then one maneuver, Moxley had a 1, 2, 3, and that was it. And yet Bryan Danielson was so upset that the match was over because he wanted to win. But then out of nowhere, William Regal showed up, man. And like everything popped. Social media, the fans there, everybody was just talking about it, that he is now AEW. So congratulations. I mean, that was the biggest surprise. Nobody was talking about it, know. No one expected him to be there, but he was there to calm both of those superstars down. And you're going to see a tag team that just created between Moxley and Danielson. And be prepared, because they could be the next in the run for a tag team title, because those two are very dangerous. And having them match, I wish I would have seen that at WrestleMania this year, because it was that good. Okay. More on the next match. Eddie Kingston defeated Chris Jericho. That was pretty solid. Kingston at the end tried to give his hand, whatever forgiveness, whatever history they had one another, but Jericho didn't want none of it. He just walked away. So almost like a sore loser, that type of deal. Jade Cahill defeated Tay Conti. She is the TBS champion. And you see the picture to the far right. That's how it started on the match. They both kissing each other. And it was more a surprise for Tay Conti, but they ended up kissing each other again later. I mean, it was, I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it is what it is, but that was most talk about on AEW during that match. They didn't care about who won. But
I wouldn't either.
And Jade Cahill, she always dominated her opponents. And if you watch her live on TV, she just handles everybody. But Tay Conti gave her a match. She did. But she just didn't have what it takes to be her, because she's that strong. And then they had a 6-man ladder match with Emil. Anyways, Warlord ended up winning this match. And you can see the very top. On the ladder match, when you're trying to be the number one contender, there's always a contract or a briefcase. Mm-hmm. You see the letter O right there. Looked like we're playing the game of Sonics or something like that. So, but Keith Lee was in there. And so was Christian Cage and everybody else. I got this match wrong. I didn't pick Warlord to win, but he ended up winning. Well deserving. And there you go. There it is right there. Like I thought maybe, bunch of rings would come out of it by him grabbing it, but that wasn't the case. Then this was a good match, CM Punk versus MJF. But it was too long, in my opinion. I thought it was too long. But overall, it was great. It was bloody. Look at this real quick. You see Warlord in the bottom right-hand corner. He ended up giving the ring, and I guess that ring was something special that MJF gave to him, and CM Punk used it against him. But you see how bloody he was. I mean, he was getting hammered with that chain. So, but overall, it was a great match. They busted out a lot of stuff there in between to make it. But yeah, let me go ahead and put on SCW here. Hey guys, hope you're keeping well. Great time to be a fan. AEW Revolution was an awesome show. on the road to WrestleMania. Impact also knocking it out of the park. It's a good time right now. And definitely indeed, it was a good time. And this sets the stage. And it's very important that it sets the stage because AEW gave a performance of a lifetime. Okay. Especially this. This is my all-time favorite of the night, was a triple threat tag team match. But Jungle Boy earns my respect. I always doubted him. I never thought that he was that good enough to be a champion, but he proved me wrong Sunday. So more props to him. And I always called the other guy the dinosaur, but he's a luchador, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Right?
Luchasaurus.
Luchasaurus. There you go. See?
And I believe they call themselves the Jurassic Express.
Right.
Correct.
That's their nickname.
You're absolutely correct. And then this one, Sting, bro. Sting did a high risk maneuver. You know, Sting's about almost 70, bro.
Yeah.
He went on top of Andrade on that table, and there was 2 more level tables underneath that picture. And he went tumbling all the way down. Like they broke them all. It was fantastic. They ended up winning, but oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was out of my seat. I mean, look at the fans right there. I mean, they're all standing. I know Sting was there, but everybody was standing. It was that live. And I'm telling you, you would have been jumping off your seat. And then the main event, Hangman Adam Page defeated Adam Cole. A lot of people liked it, I guess. I was not a big fan. I'm going to tell you that right now. I was not a big fan. I thought I was seeing the Undisputed Era, even though they're not called that. But I thought maybe Triple H was running the show a little bit. But if you're in AEW, you would think that you would do your own thing, you know, do something else. But I felt like that same old Adam Cole kicking in the head and everything else. But I'm glad he lost because I wanted Adam Page to win.
But it was safe to say that Adam was going to win this match.
It's safe to say yes. And
Yeah,
Adam
definitely.
would Adam all the way. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have said Adam. Yeah.
My least favorite, the only thing I like about this is the championship belt. Check out that championship belt. That is so beautiful.
Did
And I
they
think you were
kiss too?
huh?
Did they kiss
No,
too?
no, they didn't. But anyway, come
Gotta
on,
go
man.
back then.
They had to keep it at least, you know, MC-17 or PG-13 or something.
Well,
But,
I mean, the first one you showed they kiss some. I mean, they should look like they're about to go for a kiss themselves too. So
yeah, but they got a little hate with one another. But Thunder Rosa was pretty much the one that she had the ball rolling. She had the momentum. It was in her favor, but Britt Baker had people in her corner. So she was outgunned 3-1, which is not fair. But Thunder Rosa is going to have another match this week for the number 1 contender for the belt. For the next pay-per-view, if I'm not mistaken, they're going to San Antonio. So they'll be in Texas. It'll be Thunder Rosa's home court advantage. I got a feeling that moment, Thunder Rosa will be the champion. But she deserved it on Sunday. But more on Steve. He says Rosa should get her rematch in her hometown of Texas next week. If so, expect these two to steal the show like they did at last year's St. Patrick's Day Slam. I predict it'll be a cage match. Ooh. If it's a cage match, I'm down to see it. But I told you, Hector, before, I'm not a big fan of Britt Baker. I didn't think that she gave something to earn her to be the champion. There was something off. Maybe because she's a heel, maybe so. But I just wasn't feeling it on that one, though. But overall, I love AEW. And if they come up with something like that, WWE is on the hot seat right now because we're looking for something. And that hot seat is, you know, these match cards are developing right now, and we're about less than a month away for WrestleMania. Okay. And the only hottest match card right now is Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. And I think Roman is the only one that's keeping WWE afloat right now. Whether you like him or not, I think he's what's keeping him afloat. Because AEW is running. AEW is doing their thing. I give them props. You know, and we are the hard-hitting wrestling show. We're not the WWE wrestling show. You know what I'm saying? So we do cover wrestling. So, you know, for anybody out there thinking that we're against AEW, No, we're not.
No, no, no. Of
So
No,
course
no,
not.
hey,
I don't think
listen.
anybody
AEW
would say
is
something like that.
AEW is
Mm.
doing their thing. They are.
I look. I'm gonna tell you right now. AEW tag team division is probably the best division. If
I
I
know
want to
it.
say the women's division, it's got to be NXT. But
Right.
then I look at Shine 71 when we saw Evilise,
Hmm.
and those females there in Tampa, Florida, got it going on over there. So it made me want to debate whether or not they're better than the woman of NXT. So there's a lot of wrestling. Like you got the IWTV network. I mean, there's like 3 or 4 different networks now for independent wrestling. So it's a good deal to watch them all. And then here in my local area, Northeast Wrestling, which I'm gonna be covering sometime next week, or actually at the end of this week, because they got a match card coming up. Frank,
Yeah, if you notice, wrestling's going back around in a circle of what it used to be when we grew up starting watching wrestling, where you have all
exactly.
these independents going on TV.
I went
You
back.
know,
Look, you want to show my age? I go back to NWA. I go back to AWA. You know,
hmm
those were the Rock and Roll Express from back then. You know, that was the jam right there. You know,
Rock
and you
and
know
roll.
what?
Yep. Hmm.
The Rock and Roll Express, right?
Yeah, and then they
And
also had the Midnight Express too.
and you know what? They're still wrestling. That's
I know.
crazy.
Hmm.
Crazy. But hey, more on that. We're coming up. We're gonna be talking about our all-time wrestling match and all-time wrestling event. So that's coming up later on the show, and definitely that video, that clip right there, will also be sent to SCW, the wrestling channel, who is tuning live with us. So thank you, Steve, for your support. More props to you and everybody else. Follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Big shout out to everybody because for the past month, we gained over 70 subscribers to our YouTube channel. And I want to say thank you. I know we haven't been on all the time, but what we do, we try to do our best to give our insight of the professional wrestling aspect. And like I said, it's just entertainment. We're just having fun. You know what I mean? So we'll just continue on that. But hey, good news this past week for WWE. We got 3 new champions. Okay. And we're going to start off with this one right here. We got 2, the new United States champion and the new Intercontinental champion. All right. Finn Balor and Ricochet, they're finally getting their moment. So I'm all in on this one.
I agree. I'm already stoked for the Intercontinental title.
Mhm.
I think they're giving Ricochet a good push. He deserves it. From what I understand, he's probably the second most popular superstar on the SmackDown roster. Um,
Mhm.
so I think, with him having that title, we'll see a more active champion there. Sami Zayn, that's a whole different story there. And so I like the angle with the Intercontinental title a little bit more than the U.S. title, but I think Finn Balor is well deserved as the U.S. champion because I felt like at times Damian Priest was going a little stale there, and so
Right.
I think they have to try to maybe revamp his character a little bit to try to make it more
A-
exciting.
And that's the reason why he went heel.
Yeah.
And you saw that change coming up when he was doing those let me see what's that called again, the open challenge, right? That he started losing himself and going
Hmm.
crazy, and
Hmm.
now he finally snapped,
Yeah.
but the thing is with Finn Balor, where did he fit in? I think right now he's fit to be the United States champion, and I'm not going to forget that he is the first universal champion.
Yes.
And every time he's trying to get a title, there's always some type of interference. But this time he won nice and clean against Damian Priest.
Yeah.
But Priest, I'm sorry, but no matter what he does, Finn Balor, he may end up getting Finn Balor the demon for WrestleMania. I got a feeling that's gonna happen.
And honestly, as these two as champions, I would like to see these two go at it.
Nah,
Get
not
it?
yet. No,
Not
no,
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 I
no,
yet,
just
no,
like
not
no,
yet,
no,
not
I
yet.
no,
think it would be good though because there's two high
no.
flyers right here. There's not a lot
Mm.
of power. It's just a lot of speed and
So
agility
I'm
going
glad
on.
that you said that. But who could be the next opponent for Ricochet now that he's the Intercontinental Champion?
Hmm. Yeah,
Who else is a high flyer that could be on his level, that could step up his A game? Because this is a big push for Ricochet right now.
It is, and until I think they find a formidable opponent for him that's going to stabilize that rival, he's going to be champion for quite some time.
Maybe, but here's another catch. What if he's not? If they make a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship belt like they've done in the past, Ricochet will not be the champion.
I could see that. Yeah,
I hope not.
it's not
Right
fair.
now, who you gonna have in that roster? You got Mansoor, who is still listed in the SmackDown roster. Cesaro's, they say he's not in WWE, but his face is still in the roster. His face is still in WWE website. Was not that'll be the biggest surprise that he come back. Oh my God, that would be a big surprise.
And win the belt. Well, if that happens, then okay, fine. But I doubt that's gonna happen.
I know. You never know, man. I mean, maybe they'll sign that contract. It's all about a contract issue, supposedly. I don't know the truth. I don't know. But I do know for a fact that Cesaro's face is still on the SmackDown roster. But more to follow on these two as we get closer to the WrestleMania. My biggest victory right here. I love this storyline. I really do. And I'm going to blow it up real quick. The RK Bros won the Raw Tag Team Championship last night. And here's the quote. I've been doing this for more than 20 years now, and I have never had this much fun as I'm having right now in this ring with my partner, Riddle. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. This man is my friend in capital letters. Okay? Listen, we never heard Randy Orton ever say anyone friends. We've never heard of that. And you don't know how many tag team partners he has had. I mean, the closest one was Edge. Okay, and look what he did to Edge. I'm telling you right now, this is proven to everybody out there that's claiming that they're supposed to split up. It's not going to happen. Randy Orton's been in the business, like he said, over 20 years. Sooner or later, he's going to hang up the boots. Was not to say that when he does, he's going to pass his viperness to Riddle, and Riddle's going to ride along with the RKO.
I can see that.
He's doing it already, is what I'm saying. And on top of all that, let me stop you there. The best RKO of all time had to be when Chad Cable did that flip and Randy Orton caught him in the air. Come on, man. Saying it so. Can you tell me any other better RKO than that?
I mean, we could have a whole segment on the different type of RKOs. I mean, when you think we've seen it all, he comes up and innovates a whole different one, and that was just awesome. I mean, I'm just waiting on the next one. 20 years already, and we haven't seen the last of a new RKO. But I got to go back to what Frank was fixing to say. Once a snake, always a snake. And I will only go as far as believing Randy Orton halfway. I only believe the first part as seeing how he's having fun, because he looks like he's having fun now because he has a partner that brings that out. But that second part, that could be deceiving. You still got to watch.
What do you mean the second part? What do you mean deceiving?
Being a friend.
Dude, a friend. How are you going to sit here and trust Randy Orton? Look at all the partners
he's never said it. Look, he even said it live.
It doesn't matter. You don't have to say it. Maybe he's setting him up.
Nah. Yeah, you're going to set up when you just won the title. What's there to set up?
Anything.
No, man. Sorry. I'm not believing you. I'm not going to believe you. Not doing it. Dude, he confessed.
All right, but I tallied up my stats and my totals. And it says that Randy Orton
is still in the negative, brother.
But he's still in the negative.
He could be a snake, but he's creating another snake because he is teaching Riddle, but Riddle's also teaching him.
But then that means so it may come back and bite Randy in the ass. That Riddle turns on him.
But why? Right now, I can see it if they about to lose the titles. Right now, the next tag team to go against them is probably the Street Profits. They want dibs now. And I'm sorry, the Street Profits are not in position right now. After that match, they're not ready for the RK Bros.
We're speaking tag teams. Okay. I want to say about majority of the tag teams in the WWE have split and come back together. Okay,
Yes,
they're
you're
gonna
right.
split soon enough.
You're right. I mean, maybe they don't have to split up. Maybe this is the first time Randy Orton is gonna be like, all right, look, there's just so mutual respect. The way they start, I could have seen a month ago Randy Orton just RKO. I mean, he's done it already. How many times that he's RKO Riddle, and yet they still together.
But see, that
I
could
don't
be
know.
that could be a ploy for Riddle to say, you know what, I didn't forget what you did
I'm
for me.
tired of you bullying me
Yeah,
How's he bullying them though?
because you're RKOing me.
Oh my God, please. You sound like a little biatch right now. But hey, it's up. SCW Wrestling Channel said it's up there with Seth's RKO at Mania 31, plus Evan Bourne from Shooting Star Press. All amazing. That's right.
yeah.
That is right. Oh my God, how can I forget that one? Evan Bourne.
The
Yes.
Seth Rollins one was good though. He went for that curb stomp and picked him up straight up in the air, boy.
He did.
He RKO'd him and left him flying down. Bloof.
But listen though, but this guy tried to do a backflip. No one's ever done that before. Randy Orton was waiting. Bah! There it is. Game over. But more on that one. More on that match real quick, as we're gonna see here. Talk about Seth Rollins and WrestleMania 31. And look at this picture right here. This was after the match. RK Bros won it. And if I'm not mistaken, Seth Rollins, was it Seth Rollins that got pushed over the ropes?
No, I
Or
think
was it Kevin Owens?
It was Kevin Owens.
Okay, well, that was the aftermath right there. And Riddle took advantage of. Riddle got the 3 count.
Yeah.
And that's that face that they got there, man. They thought that they lost that moment of going to WrestleMania. Now, right now, we got updated information that Kevin Owens will have he's gonna have the KO show at WrestleMania, and Stone Cold Steve Austin accepted. He's gonna be there, and he had a message for him on Twitter, and he's saying that 19 years ago he lost his last match. He just he woke up the beast. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Kevin Owens need to watch himself because it's not just him that's going to be there. Booker T, JBL, they already been ranting on Twitter. They hate Kevin Owens. I wouldn't be surprised if all 3 of them give him their own signature moves.
Yeah,
That's gonna be entertaining.
Yeah, and Shawn Michaels. Don't forget him. He put his name in there too. The only one he left out was The Undertaker, which I think that was the best thing for him.
Ah, man, the Undertaker will bury his ass, man. He ain't gonna say shit too. He ain't say shit. But what's gonna happen with Seth Rollins now?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, where does he go from here? You know, does he maybe after WrestleMania start a feud with Kevin Owens?
Again, though? I mean, we already saw that already.
I don't want to see that again. Another repeat?
Twice. No, I don't want to see that again.
Well, you know, I mean, how many times we've seen Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn go at it? And they're supposed to be best friends. Kevin Owens always seemed to get under everybody's skin to the point where he got everybody going after him 5 or 6 times. I mean, he's just that aggravating, you know, and irritating.
Yeah, he is.
That's how he is. You know.
But let's just go ahead.
And two, I think wherever this goes with the main event, you know, whoever walks out of there as the champion, maybe we could see something, you know, stir up with Seth Rollins in that situation, whether it be Brock or Roman. It just depends if we have a unification or we still have separate titles. So I think after WrestleMania, we'll get the answer for us.
There's still gonna be, rumor is that they're gonna still be separate titles. I think whoever wins is going to relinquish one of the titles. I don't know if WWE is planning for a new change the name for a title. Right. But what I do, from what I hear and what I've read, that there's going to be a champion on both brands. So,
and I think it's fair enough. I think it's fair. I mean, if you're going to have 2 brands and you're going to have 2 titles, you might as well keep it that way, because one champion going both back and forward is just too much work. I don't agree with it.
Well, we're going to get to Title versus title soon. Hold on for a second. Another development here is Edge. He got his new look. He's ready for AJ Styles. All right. He states, I am standing on the mountain of eponymous, and the view is phenomenal. So, hopefully I'm saying this right. Omnipotent. Omnipotence. Say that real fast.
Omnipotence.
It's not potence, it's puntance, because it's a schwa sound for that letter O. Trust me. Yes. Oh man, I love being a teacher. Omnipotence.
I'm not even going to try to say it.
So what it means is the quality of having unlimited or very great power. And that's what he's demonstrating. Okay. That's the message that he's trying to come out with. So it's almost the same as what Randy Orton was saying to Edge a couple of WrestleManias ago. I did that for you. Like he did him a favor by whipping his ass. How you doing a favor? The favor is, look, oh, you want to challenge me? I'll see you at WrestleMania. That's a favor. That was an ass whooping. This guy want to like take him out. So I don't know if he's trying to get the evenness out of AJ Styles, because he did call him a bitch. You was your tag team partner, you was a bitch, pretty much. So now, I don't know if he's trying to get the aggression out of AJ Styles, but AJ Styles doesn't need no motivation. He knows exactly what he has to do. He's the phenomenal one.
Oh yeah, I mean we're seeing it with Stone Cold Steve Austin, and now we're seeing it with AJ Styles. I mean, yeah, it's just to me kind of ridiculous that someone like Edge wants to bring out the best in someone who's already the best, one of the best. Mm-hmm. He's already a Grand Slam champion. I mean, he's already proven that he's up there with the best. Okay.
Right.
I mean, I think just Edge is just burying himself right now. You're not getting the best out of somebody who's already got that status, in my opinion. So to me, this is just kind of ridiculous. And I'm not a fan of Edge right now. I'm not a fan. Don't get me on that soapbox.
Please do.
This is just not. This is not right.
But why not? Why are you not a fan of Edge?
Because again, it goes back to this persona that I'm already in the Hall of Fame, but I still got to come out and continue proving to myself something. I think that's all it is. He's trying to prove himself something instead of trying to get something out of AJ Styles. Because you look at Stone Cold Steve Austin, what he said in his promo, that he had this itch, but he knew when to give it up. Okay? After 3 rock bottoms, he knew when to quit. And I respect that. Edge doesn't know how to quit. You see? Okay? And with the rattlesnake, he's being brought back in, okay, by someone who's acting arrogant out of desperation, okay, where you already have somebody who's in the Hall of Fame who's, to me, is in desperation mode in a whole different sense because he's going after present superstars.
Okay, hold on. Wait.
This is interesting.
Yeah, because when you look at Edge, when he left, didn't want to leave. So, in a sense, he was forced out due to injury, right?
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay, so him wanting to come back in is because he still felt that he had a lot more in the tank and that he had to prove to himself that he's worth more than where he ended up at. Okay, so you have Stone Cold that left on pretty much on his terms also. Okay,
well, due to injury.
Right, but Stone Cold was content.
But he just said too that he said he has that itch for 19 years, but he never scratched that itch to try to come back, even though he was injured.
Because he didn't want to. Because he maybe, but you know what?
I understand your point. I do. No, I understand your point. Remember, Edge was forced out to retire because of a neck injury. We got that part, right? And when he was medically cleared, he did have it. He wanted to continue wrestling. I don't think he was ready to retire. You see, he didn't go out the way any other superstar will want to go out. For example, Shawn Michaels, he went out the way he wanted to go out, and he went out in style, and that's something Undertaker cherished, and he wanted his moment. His moment had to be during the pandemic, where he had to do a movie to say that he a documentary, excuse me, to say that he retired. You see what I'm saying? So in that sense, I do understand. Edge, he's forgiven for coming back. Now you talk about like a guy like Goldberg, you know, coming back all the time. Then you start questioning why this, why you taking a slot from somebody else? You know, why is Lita coming back with all those females out there that were getting cut, and now you're gonna bring back Lita, right? 30 woman Royal Rumble, and you're gonna bring back like half the roster of legends. Why would you do that?
Right. That makes no sense.
It make no sense whatsoever. But I understand. I got you. I don't know about Hector. You know, he getting mad at Edge, but that's okay. I understand you, man.
Because
I
to
got
me, Ed,
I understand your point of view.
well, Edge is to me is taking someone else's spot. He's taking someone's spotlight who's sitting in the back who wants to go against AJ Styles at WrestleMania.
Okay, but all
Okay.
right, let's put it like this. So then in the 11 years that Edge was gone, someone took his spot like that.
Well, we need that because we don't need these old timers who's already in the Hall of Fame doing something that these kids, these young ones who are trying to achieve at their status right now. You got people like AJ.
Okay,
You got these
okay,
trying to
watch
become
this. Watch this. Okay, so then Undertaker should not have been around for as long as he was, because then he was taking up someone's spot at WrestleMania.
Well, he in a way I can see that, but he did finally when he finally had his last match, he's not retiring. He's not coming back anymore.
We don't know that. That's
Oh,
yet to
I
be
know
seen.
that.
No,
Yeah.
he.
I mean, I doubt he will also, and I wouldn't want to see him back.
That
Anyway.
dude can't even. I mean, he'll walk
Alright.
as slow as he did in his intro.
Right. But, so, I mean, again, Edge still felt he has something to prove. And you know what? I think that he's good for the up-and-coming wrestlers. Do I think he's good for AJ Styles? No. Because it's like you said, AJ Styles is already one of the best.
All right.
Because see, AJ Styles, he wanted to be the mark for the Undertaker. To me, this is nonsense between him and Edge, but it made more sense with him and the Undertaker. He wanted the Undertaker to go out, and he wanted to be the one to take the fall. I could see that, but this whole him and Edge thing, I'm not a fan of it. That might be my bathroom break. I don't care how stupendous the match may be. I'm just not a fan of Edge anymore. I'm losing respect for people like him and Goldberg. Okay, I get it, Lita, and even Edge's wife. Okay,
Wait,
I mean, I was a Glamazon fan, and why she got to come back for one match?
I agree. She shouldn't.
Well, I mean,
But I mean, I think. Okay, so now we're having, I believe, Pat McAfee also.
Well, no, that's different. And we're going to talk about that dude also, because that is my next segment real quick, because he hosted the show this past Thursday with Vince McMahon. And that is a wonderful, wonderful interview. And I have to give respect to Pat McAfee for what he done, because one, we were getting to know Vince McMahon 15 years later. 15 years without an interview. Now we got the inside scoop of who is really Vince McMahon. Okay. Breaking news is he is going to induct Undertaker, which is pretty awesome, and I think it's well deserving. I think he is honored. I know he was a little choked up in there and he didn't want to admit it, but McAfee kept rubbing his face. Hey, we got it on tape. We could replay it, and it was hilarious. Second, he, instead of making a scene like the Adam Cole versus McAfee, he actually told him he earned it to have a match at WrestleMania. And it was well respected because the fans love Pat McAfee. They love him. I got to go there at the XL Center to watch a match and to see him going on top and interact with the fans, even before the show starts, during the show, even after, to interact with the fans and everything else. This dude, he has the talent of a broadcaster, man. And I haven't seen that from anybody else. I mean, maybe The Rock, of course. The Rock, he's the people's champ, right? But he is that type of caliber dude, right? And for what he had done, I got to respect the man. You got to respect it. And for what McAfee has done, and he's not a full-time superstar, but he trains to be one, okay? Look at what he did with Adam Cole. You mean to tell me he doesn't deserve it?
No, I think so. I mean,
Frank,
I
you
don't know
don't think he
exactly what he did with
deserves it?
Adam Cole. I don't know what he did with
Well,
Adam
he had an awesome wrestling match. That's what happened. This
I
guy
never
got
saw
moves.
McAfee
You
wrestle.
call Bad
I-
Bunny. This guy got more moves than Bad Bunny.
Hey, I believe it. I mean, look, I've never seen McAfee wrestle. I've never.
You
Seen
got
it.
to replay the tape, man. Go back to the NXT, one of their
But that's the
pay-per-views,
thing.
and
I've
watch
never
it.
seen NXT. I don't watch
He
NXT.
Pat McAfee is gonna put a whooping on on what's his name? Oh my god, I'm listening on Austin Theory,
on the
man.
theory.
Yes,
I
Austin Theory.
I think it's good. I mean, for him to make that transition from the NFL to WWE, I mean, I think it's good for him. He's proven himself on the mic. You know, I mean, his podcast is great. You know, he keeps the show alive with
Oh
Michael
yes.
Cole. You know what I'm saying? And so he has that athleticism. You know, being a kicker, a punter, special teams, whatever for the Colts for like 7-8 years. I mean, he can do his thing, and I think he'll be well in that ring. You know, I
Oh,
mean,
he will. I mean, he got a ring set up behind his studio. I mean, Vince McMahon checked it out. He was like, man, that's a pretty impressive, you know. Uh SCW states McCaffrey brings that energy to whatever he does. Love his job on commentary, and he has shown that he can mix it up in the ring.
mm-hmm.
I agree with you, man. I mean, I think he summarized everything that I was trying to say. Um, but the biggest thing that I got on that interview is the leadership that Vince McMahon has done. Okay, and he continues to do. And this is why. And this is so important. And this is a good takeaway here. Okay, leaders, no matter what organization you're in, you got your employers. You got your employees, you got everything, you pay them, whatever, you do whatever it's the team, whether it's a sport, whatever it is, right? You can't do everything yourself. You might be the mastermind, but you can never do it yourself, right? And the key thing to anything in the business, you always got to listen. This man said it a couple of times, or actually more than once, about you just got to listen. Everybody got ideas. Whether it works or whether or not, don't be afraid. How many times has Vince McMahon failed? A lot. It's almost sound like Michael Jordan. When Michael Jordan said, hey, at first, I was missing all the free throws, or I was missing the game-winning shots. Eventually, everything came back natural for him to always take the shot and always make it. It just took a lot of practice. Same thing with Vince McMahon. He had the XFL. It failed. He brought it back to life again. The pandemic hit. He had to celebrate. He went bankruptcy. All right. And he always foresees. He always challenges himself. He got the WWE network. When everybody was making fun of him, all of a sudden it was working. Now everybody wants to do an app, a network, Hulu, YouTube. Everybody and their mothers got apps now because they copycat WWE. You see what I'm saying? Everything he does, he's not afraid, you know? And with all this news and everything else that people want to say, good and bad, you know, I would say to this, if you got a bad rep for Vince McMahon, then there's something wrong with you. Because eventually you can't maintain your sportsmanship. You cannot maintain your professionalism. Because that's what the bottom line is. That's what they're looking for in the WWE. Look how when I interact with these former WWE stars that come to these local promotions and sell their shirts or autographs and stuff, these guys are just as human as we are, very kind and everything else, right? Those are the guys that Vince McMahon is looking for. They got ideas, it's going to work. They'll try it out, right? But the key thing is listen, right? Ain't that part of communication? When one person's talking, the other person's listening, and then back and forth. That's it. He delegates. He doesn't do everything himself. And that's another thing. He says, I don't like people saying thank you to him. Now I understand why. If you go back to the YouTube channel and go to that interview, you understand why he don't like to be saying thank you. Why? And he always says sky's the limit. He don't believe in ceilings. He don't be nothing that. He just go out and do it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, does it. Just move on. you know. So I like that, and it inspired me a lot, to be honest with you, because it brought me to another perspective. This is something I already knew. We all know for our times in the military, you know, but we know now on the outside world how he is thinking and everything else in a bigger picture. So, but more props to him, man. I know I'm going on and on and on and everything else, but
Yeah,
I just enjoyed everything that he had to say.
I think it makes sense because he understands that his time is limited. Okay, he could see almost at the end of the tunnel.
Hmm.
So to listen to what the newcomers have to say to bring to the table, he's like, okay, look, I'm gonna hear what you got to say because you're the future. You're gonna have to make this better. But we work together because I created this. Let me show you what you could take. Let me take your idea and what if we do this with it? Not to change it to the way but I want it, but just to give you something from what I've experienced over the years dealing with this, but using it with your idea to mix it
Hmm.
together and make something better. So I think McMahon is showing that he's not uh, power hungry anymore, but that you're right.
Right.
He's listening more to what everybody got to say because,
He
you
admitted
know,
that. He
yeah,
did. He admitted that. He said it only lasted for 6 months, and that he was reminded that, hey, everybody wears the pants the same way.
yeah. And I mean, that's the same thing with us. We got the future generation coming. Let's listen to their ideas. You know,
Hmm.
we can tell them what we came from and give them our ideas, but, they're going to be the ones leading us in the future. And the same thing with the WWE. If this is going to continue on for the next generation or so, he has to be able to listen to the new, fresh ideas, and
Right.
that's what's going to make it successful, no matter who he has on the roster.
Yeah.
And he's got a great cast of senior superstars that can help with that molding,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey,
because
this
you
show
got
is brought to you by. Oh, go ahead.
no, you go because I think just like somebody like Randy Orton is like, hey, tell me what you got, kid,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe that could help, maybe put me out, and now starts your new legacy. You see, something like that.
Absolutely. Hey, this show is brought to you by the Clovercrest Media. Visit clovercrestmedia.com. It is the HHW Show podcast, the hard hitting wrestling show. And we got two questions. And this is sponsored by the SCW Wrestling Channel, Steve. So if you're hearing us, I know you've been following our podcast and everything else. We're about to cut what you always wanted from us. All right. The best WrestleMania match. That is the topic. Okay. And I don't know whatever you want to go first. I'm gonna go last on this one. My answer is really easy. I'm not gonna go in depth, but um whoever wants to go, what was
I'll
your
go first
best
on this.
WrestleMania match?
Look, I had two of them. Okay, I had two of them because one of them was the one that turned me into wrestling, which was Hogan against the Giant. Okay, WrestleMania 3. All right, that one turned me on. And then more recent, we're looking at The Rock versus Hulk Hogan, the legend versus the icon. Can't beat those, in my opinion.
Man, you stole my thunder, man. That was my pick for the match was Hulk Hogan versus The Rock. And the thing is I grew up watching Hulk Hogan, right?
I did
And then when the
too.
Attitude Era and everything else, when it was that match was like the battle handoff, pass the torch. You got this. This is yours. Okay. You're talking about a person that went from being a baby face for so many years for the WWE to go to another brand to be the bad guy, the NWO, to bring that NWO to the WWE, okay? And then to go back to being a babyface to have that iconic moment when the fans are cheering all the way around, man. I mean, you couldn't get better than that. You couldn't. You couldn't get
No.
better than that. And being that
Yeah,
it was in Toronto, Canada, in the Sky Dome with over 68,000 people standing up cheering, that was beautiful. That
you
gave me
know,
goosebumps and everything else.
and it's crazy because I had more respect for Hulk Hogan in his second tour in the WWE than the first time, because I was tired of him, always winning, always being in the spotlight. It's like nobody could beat him for this title. So now we see the vulnerability of Hogan passing the torch with matches, being in the ring with people like The Rock, Brock Lesnar, winning a tag team title with Edge. You know what I'm saying? We're seeing things that was not in his norm back in the day as the immortal Hulk Hogan. And now it's starting to change now. And I like that. I like that. He did a lot for WWE at that time. And I enjoyed that Hogan. And I'll never forget those. But for me, my best WrestleMania match of all time was WrestleMania 25, Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. I think those two had an instant classic match. That was the first time they fought each other. They did the rematch in 26. But in WrestleMania 25, I think these two tore it down. They tore the house down. And that made me a believer that I thought the streak was going to end that night with Shawn Michaels ending it. But The Undertaker prevailed. It was awesome.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because the match that I was getting at was when the Undertaker lost his streak. Because I was shocked, just like all that look at in New Orleans in the Superdome. Everyone was like couldn't believe. Wait a minute, the streak is over. That was I like any matches that's a shocking moment, to be honest with you. But the most sentimental one really was when Daniel Bryan won and that Yes movement. But there was more behind it, because I knew that was for that boy that had cancer, Connor.
Honor.
Right? Yeah. And when they showed that before the match started and everything else, I was like, oh my God, the Make-A-Wish Foundation and everything else. I started to understand it more. Yes, it was predictable. We knew Daniel Bryan was going to win. But it was that moment, that storyline, how Randy Orton did it, how Batista did it, Triple H at the very beginning. That was a great storyline package put together. And I won't forget that moment. I really didn't. And when I replay it, I'm not remembering just the match. I'm remembering about that boy that his dream came true. And that means a lot.
Yeah. That was good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What about you, Frank? Your WrestleMania events that you can remember? What number? Or you still with 18?
I'm still with 18.
You're still with 18. Outstanding. Good job, buddy.
Out.
No, you're not changing.
I'm stuck on it. No.
You're still 18. Yeah. Just like life. You're still 18. Yeah. Think you're still young. Well, speaking about the Undertaker, he is going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame by Vince McMahon, as we stated before, and then a new announcement. We thought it was going to be one person for SmackDown, but it's not. Vader will be inducted into the Hall of Fame to the class of 2022. So congratulations to him. That's fabulous. I'll tell you that much. And then, hey, here's the WrestleMania card coming up. Once again, the main event is Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, title for title. You got the Women's Championship between Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. Then the tag team match between the Mysterios and The Miz and Logan Paul. Then the Raw Women's Championship, you got Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch was in the hospital this past Monday. She was getting the IV and everything else. Hopefully that whatever it is, if it's part of the storyline, that's a good sell. But if it's the real deal and that was just temporary or whatever it is, I hope that she's doing fine. But I didn't hear anything else about that. But more matches there. We got Drew McIntyre and Corbin. Happy Corbin. So that's going to be an interesting match right there. That was predictable that match will happen at WrestleMania. Edge versus AJ Styles. And then the tag team championship that was supposed to happen got changed to a triple threat match thanks to Liv and Rhea Ripley. They won their match, defeating the tag team champions. So now we got yourself a triple threat match to add on to Naomi and Sasha Banks. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, man, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley seem like a better tag team than any woman in the main roster.
Yeah, I think it's better than Rhea Ripley and Nikki Ash.
Yep.
Because it was ass.
Complete ass.
It was trash. Straight up trash. I mean, I know there's a sign that says Mela is trash. I think it's by Naomi or Sasha Banks, and Carmella replied on Twitter to take it down, but that's not going to be taken down. But what about that tag team? What kind of name would you give that tag team? Yeah, I'll put it back up again. What kind of name would you give that tag team?
I have no idea.
Crazy.
The Red Devils?
The blonde emos? I don't know.
What?
Emo?
Yeah, but they're
both blonde. They look like they're in the heavy metal rock, emo style.
Oh, I guess I could see your point of view. No. But the interesting match here we got is this one right here. Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. That should be a good match. Something that Steve was saying before. Let me get that comment up real quick, because he says here that McAfee and Theory isn't a dream match to many, but this can really help get Theory over. Austin to beat Pat at Mania is a big deal. McAfee is a mainstream star with an NFL background and his podcast. But man, you would think that Theory should win this match, but if Pat McAfee was to win, that's going to probably be the biggest laughter of them all. Don't you think? I mean, a commentator coming in and winning. I mean, it's not like the Jerry King Lawler.
But wait, but you said that McAfee wrestled also in NXT.
Yeah, but
he's not.
He
just
wrestled one time. One time. I'm not saying he was a pure wrestler. One time, and he did a good job. He got flips. He got moves, but he practices all the time. That's what I told you. He has a wrestling ring behind the studio. He does practice. Oh yeah, ask Adam Cole. He knows.
Yeah, I just think Pat McAfee needs to keep a WWE superstar out of his podcast because he finds up finding himself in a match after the fact.
Speaking about that, we got Sami Zayn and John Knoxville.
Yeah,
and that's so far. Those are the cards right now in WrestleMania. So more to follow. We still got the Raw Tag Team Championships and the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Now, I'm just curious, are we gonna have a WrestleMania moment on SmackDown like they did last year, and one of the belts be defended? I'm just saying, because that's still gonna be, remember that at the same time you have the Hall of Fame with SmackDown. That's gonna be the first time done ever, is 2-1. So just saying. I won't be surprised if the Intercontinental Championship will be defended on that Friday, just to make some noise. I don't know.
I hope they leave all the good matches for WrestleMania weekend. They need them all, anyways.
I know, because I know exactly how you'll be sitting right here. Look at this. Bam. I can't let it go, Frank. I can't.
Hey, you know what? I prefer that one over the many that you could probably have. So
righty then. You better be careful. I'll be snapshotting everything, print screen or whatever. Anyhow.
Right.
Oh, but hey, man, it's a good talk, man. It's a good talk. I appreciate it, man. This is some good wrestling. Yeah, with Kevin Owens and his outbursts and everything he want to say bad about Texas is gonna bite him in the ass pretty soon. Again, my prediction is he's gonna get 3 signature moves, one from each: Booker T, JBL, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. But being as a KO show, I wouldn't expect that Stone Cold will last that long. He'll probably do what he got to do quick, get his beers, and move on out. So do it like the Texas way. You know what they say? Don't mess with Texas.
And everything is bigger in Texas. So we'll see.
Got him.
Anyways, thank you for listening to the HHW show. Please, if you missed our show and everything else, you can replay it again on YouTube, Facebook, or on Twitter. And once again, on behalf of the CMG Sports Podcast Network, I'm Over Muniz with Hector and Frank. We'll talk to you soon next week on the HHW Show podcast.
Bye-bye.
Really, dude? Really?
Let's do it.
Come on now.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Hasta la
Yeah.
vista.
Goodbye. Hasta la vista.